Welcome to the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report, the only show that provides you with the best insight and information to everything Franklin County sports. And now here's your host, Bobby C.
Well, hello there, and welcome to the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report. You know what? This is the first show that we've been able to have right here at our GCTV studios. We're right in between the building of where we're located and across from the Greenfield Public Library. It's wonderful to be able to be here. I want to thank my producer, Philippe Simone, for putting this all together. You know, it's been a very tough year so far. You know, we lost all of our spring sports. Our summer sports are only down to about 4 sports teams that are able to play throughout the summer. And the real big problem that people are wondering about now is what's going to happen with fall sports here in Franklin County. You know, one of the biggest talks that people have been wondering about as far as sports are concerned is, will there be high school sports, knowing that school could be done remotely from people's homes? If they're going to have remote learning, why would they have sports? That is the big question right now. I'm going to run down some information about a couple of states on what their plans are for opening up for sports in the fall, and then we'll run down a little bit about what the MIAA is talking about, what they want to do here in Massachusetts. But what I'd like to do is run down a recap of what we have going on. But before we do that, I want to say a big thank you to Lisa Alber of Alber Hearing Services, 33 Riddell Street in Greenfield, also by the Four Leaf Clover Restaurant. They're located right there on routes 5 and 10 in Berniston, and by Denny's Pantry, located on Berniston Road in Greenfield. Denny's is now open. They're doing indoor dining. They're also doing some outdoor dining, and you can also do pickup. Also, the Four Leaf Clover, same thing, indoor dining, outdoor dining, and also they're doing their pickup. And of course, everyone knows about Lisa Alber at alberhearing.com. All right. Well, you know, I was talking to Philippe a little bit about this earlier, that it's really sad that we really normally have a really solid program during the summer where we do a lot of interviews. We interview a lot of the different athletes and things like this. Well, now with the situation of COVID-19, we haven't been able to really do that. The only thing that's going to save me this year is that a couple of the interviews that I want to do this summer, believe it or not, are close family. I'm going to do a special interview with my nephew Jackson, who plays for a Sandy Koufax team from Greenfield that is undefeated right now during the summer. So we're going to get him in here. We'll have a nice chat with him. And also, I want to do a special interview with my brother Aaron. So we'll have an opportunity to chat with him as well. So a couple of the weeks that we have here in August that we want to talk sports, we'll hopefully be able to get those two guys in here to be able to chat a little bit of baseball and really what it's been like in the shoes of a young player like Jackson, who has probably struggled being the athlete that he is, not being able to be around his friends all the time and not being able to play a lot of the games that he would hopefully been able to play this year because of the shortened and the very weird season that we have had. Let's get right to our show. All right. Well, it looks like the West County Warriors had a big win over Hatfield back this past week. Final score was 13-3, and Sean Davenport had himself a solid outing on the mound. He ended up throwing 4 2/3 innings, and he picked up the win back on Tuesday night. With that said, Jaden Moore pitched well too. He came in relief to seal the deal for them. Also, Roscoe Palmer and Matt Poland, as far as Cullen Brown and Liam O'Donnell are concerned, they were able to get hits as well as Sean Davenport in that win. You know, on Monday, they also had a game. They ended up beating Brattleboro, an easy win for that team from the West County. They end up winning that one 15-2. Tyler Dubriel ended up leading the charge with 3 hits in that one. He also had a pair of bases-loaded triples and a double en route to 7 RBIs on the day. What a solid day right there for Tyler Dubriel. Also, Davenport ended up with another great day. He ended up going 3 for 4. O'Donnell ended up with a couple of hits. Also, Sam Schreiber ended up having a double. Ruben Bassett ended up with an RBI single as they made key contributions in that win against Brattleboro. Winning pitcher Ben Thompson, well, he made his first start of the year. Ended up being a solid day for Ben. Nice job for him. Hey, you can't go wrong when you only let up a 1-hitter in your first outing. Excellent job by Ben Johnson. Well, like I said about that Greenfield Sandy Koufax team, undefeated on the year, well, they took on Amherst this past week, back on Tuesday, and they picked up a win. Final score was 3-0, where Hugh Syhowski and Ethan Quinn ended up combining to strike out 8 batters as they picked up the shutout at Vets Field. Syhowski got the win. You're talking 4 2/3 innings. Quinn finished up with earning that save. He struck out 4. Braden Fair was 2 for 2 with a run scored and an RBI. Jake Petrin added a hit. Also a nice sacrifice fly, while Nico Fasulo ended up with a single and a stolen base. Well, it turned out to be a nice win for them. You know, it was nice to be able to see them have a solid day, and congratulations to that Greenfield team that has been solid so far this summer. Well, Frontier, Mickey Mantle, well, they took on Northampton, and they picked up a win. Final score was 7-2 back on Tuesday night. I can tell you that the Frontier Albert Hearing Services team has had a good season so far, and Max Edwards ended up tying the game on a squeeze bunt. He scored Kevin Bauman. Also, Garrick Brinda, he ended up with a double. Tannen Craig ended up with the go-ahead tally. Frontier tacked on 4 runs. Ben Martino had a couple of hits. Also, Kyle Barnes, Bauman, and Dylan Martin ended up driving in a run. And Jake Dodge was your winning pitcher. Ended up with 8 strikeouts and only 1 hit. As I told you, we're outside here. And there you go, a live update right there of, unfortunately, an ambulance driving in downtown Greenfield. By the way, Jake Dodge, he ended up being that winning pitcher in that Frontier contest. He struck out 8, only allowed 1 hit. And those Greenfield juniors, well, they picked up a win back on Tuesday this week as well, as David Carey was absolutely dominant on the mound. He struck out 12 over 7 innings, and they picked up the win 5-4 over Belchertown Orange. Carey ended up with scattering 6 hits. He didn't even walk a batter, and only that 1 hit. A solid day for David Carey as him and his team picked up that victory. Their coach, Tom Brusciano, well, he said that Carey was on fire that day, and it was a game that he wasn't going to lose. Jake Whitney added a hit and an RBI. Also, Gavin Rubio registered a hit. He also registered a couple of runs, and MJ Pollen was 1 for 3 with an RBI as they picked up the victory. Well, the Greenfield Seniors, they picked up their win as Matt Gardner ended up roping a game-winning single in the bottom of the 7th inning, and Michael Bassett sent Greenfield with a 4-3 victory over Belchertown. That was a great game that they had this past week. Owen Phelps went the distance on the mound. He ended up earning a run, 4 hits, and he struck out 8. He only allowed 1 walk, too. Offensively, David Carey led the way, though. He was solid with a double. Also, Gardner, Dylan Appenell, and Bassett all had a couple hits apiece. Greenfield Seniors started off the beginning of this week at 7-2. The team has done really well this season under their coach, Kyle Phelps. So great job done by them. Well, it's sad to say this, but our Valley Storm teams were planning on getting into a lot of tournaments. Just going to wipe my face here a little bit here, folks. But they were planning on getting in a lot of tournaments this year. But because of what happened with COVID-19, they only had 4 tournaments. Every one of these tournaments were out of the state of Massachusetts. And it made it very tough for their head coach, Joe Gamache, and those other coaches from the other teams. And why I say this is because they had big plans to get into a lot of tournaments and travel all across New England every weekend this whole summer. It just didn't work out that way. But I'm going to say this. The Valley Storm team really made it fun for their year, and they won a big tournament this past summer as well, and ended up bringing home some really nice hardware. But the problem is right now is their season is coming to an end, and it has come to an end this past week. So think about this. We're in the first week of August, and their season is over because of the fact that they were only in 4 tournaments instead of the 13 tournaments they were supposed to get in. You think about that. That is a lot of softball that they were planning on playing, and now that is not going to happen. Let's talk about the Valley Storm team. You know, this group of girls in the 12U, they are a lot of fun. Hannah Gilbert, she ended up with 4 hits, including a double, home run, and 2 RBIs. And Mackenzie Pollen smacked 3 hits, including a home run and a double, also 3 RBIs on the day, and they picked up an 18-9 victory earlier this past week, back on Tuesday. Maggie Fay, well, she earned the win. She was in the circle, is the pitcher. How about she struck out 5 over 5 innings? Gilbert came in for the last 2. She struck out all 6 batters as the Valley Storm 12U team picked up the victory. Mackenzie Pollen also had a chance to be a part of their game on Wednesday night, where Mackenzie Pollen struck out 10 batters. They picked up a victory 10-5 over the Berkshire Force. Now that game was played out in the Berkshires in Pittsfield. So it turned out to be a nice opportunity for them to walk away with a big victory. The Valley Storm 12U team winding down their 2020 campaign, which unfortunately is very sad because this team is really good and these girls play so well together. Hannah Gilbert led the offense once again. She is just an unbelievable athlete. We're going to be mentioning her name for a long time. Hannah Gilbert is going to be one star in, I'm going to tell you, every single sport. She is going to be great in every sport that she plays. She ended up with a couple of hits, including a double. Also, Cordelia Guerin ended up with 2 hits for the Storm. Kylie Gamache ended up with a double and an RBI. Hannah Bukala and Melanie Ring each had a hit and a single RBI to be able to lead that 12U team. They won once again this past week over the Berkshire Force. Well, I hope everyone's doing well. I want to welcome you to the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report. I'm Bobby C. And I want to just say thank you to my producer, Philippe Simone. We're in a very small, shortened setup here today. I think what it's going to do for the rest of the summer is probably run anywhere between half hour to maybe a 40-minute show. That's all we're going to be able to offer. And you know, if we normally had our regular teams all playing with Little League and softball and kids soccer and everything else, boy, we'd have plenty to talk about. But unfortunately, all those leagues have been canceled this summer. But I want to bring out some very important news for people wondering what could happen in the fall. And this is a nice platform to sort of give you an idea of what they're thinking across New England when it comes to high school sports. Well, surrounding states, including Connecticut, they are making their plans to have a fall sports season for every single sports team. They're planning on trying to be able to play. And here is how they are setting up their format for the fall. It's called the Connecticut Interscholastic Athletic Conference. That's what they call themselves. And they had a meeting this past Friday, and here's exactly what they said. They said that they plan on having every single sport in the fall, including football. And how they're going to do it is that there's only going to be groups of 15 that are going to be able to work out. So for an example, football, you know, in Connecticut, they could have teams of 45. So they're going to have 3 different practice sessions of 15 in a practice. Now, that's how they're going to start. But there'll be able to be full groups of them that'll finally be able to get things started on September 11th. And then what they'll do is they'll start getting all their practices and everything in. And before we know it, they're going to be able to start their season. It's going to be a very late start for them. They're going to have a late start in September, and that's what you're going to see with all the sports teams. So they're thinking that what they want to do is on August 17th, they want to be able to start getting these groups of 15 to start being able to get together. This way the kids have an opportunity to be able to really get to be able to start intertwining with each other and sort of figuring out how they're going to be able to get these kids into the positions that they're going to be able to practice in so they can get the season started. It's going to be a very shortened season too. Now this is in Connecticut now, because I'm going to run down 3 states where it's just so you get an idea. So here's what they're going to do. They're going to be able to play a maximum of 12 regular season games in all sports except for football. Football is only going to be able to play 6. And here's what they're going to do. They're going to take the 10 closest schools in Connecticut that are near each other, and those are going to be the teams that are going to play each other. And the reason why is because of them being close, it gives them sort of an idea of how the COVID-19 virus is affecting that local community. And it gives them a chance to be able to use that as a way to be able to continue to keep sports going. It's a lot harder for a team from Franklin County to go play a team down in the Boston area. Well, in Connecticut, they want to keep everybody close by as well. So that is the state of Connecticut. Now, the state of New Hampshire. Live free or die, they call it up there. And let me tell you, they opened up early. They are not wearing masks up there. Almost everyone is not wearing masks in New Hampshire. Let's run down what they're doing for fall sports. Well, they're called the New Hampshire Interscholastic Athletic Association. And the NHIAA has made it clear they are going to be having their sports. Back on Thursday, they decided to delay the start of the season, but they are going to have sports, including football. What they've decided is that they need this for the kids. And here's a quote from the main president of that organization. He said, quote, "It is essential to the physical and emotional and mental state of these players for them to be able to have physical activity in their lives, and to do it with safety as a priority." So what he's pretty much saying is these kids need it mentally, physically, and we can do this safely. So that's exactly why they're going to be able to get started with this in September. They also said that the fall competition is going to be done with districts. And I'll tell you right now, one of the districts is a very big district up there in New Hampshire, and that's up there in Portsmouth. And they made it very clear that what they're going to do is they're going to have their own setup of exactly what they want, and they'll work together with the conference to be able to make it work so that there'll be safety involved in everything that goes on up there. But they also made it very clear, and here's another quote right here: "If there's any new outbreaks of COVID-19 that are going to affect the players, then we shut it down." So the goal is they want to start, and if they can start in the middle of September in New Hampshire, they will get it done. So New Hampshire and Connecticut, one to the north and one to the south of Massachusetts, this is what those two towns are doing and states are doing. And I thought it would be a nice way for us to sort of give you an idea, because we are literally right in the middle of both of those states. Because if you look, if you're coming up 91, you go 91 right from Connecticut right into Massachusetts, take Route 10 and you're right inside of New Hampshire just like that. So it gives you a really good idea of having each side of us what their plans are. Now, here's what the MIAA has said. The MIAA has made it very clear. I want to say hi to my buddy Dan. Nice to see Dan. Hey, all right, buddy. The MIAA made it very clear that at the start of the fall season, they want to make it work. But here's the deal. They have a start date of September 14th. But it really comes down to when the guidelines will be set up in Massachusetts in the next 2 weeks. So 2 weeks from now, I'm going to be able to know exactly what the game plan is for fall sports in Massachusetts. So as you see, Connecticut has already got theirs out. New Hampshire has already got theirs out. Now we're waiting for Massachusetts. The question is, will the MIAA, will they sort of follow what's going on with Connecticut and New Hampshire because they are so close? I mean, if you look at, we have a very big city right there by the Connecticut border in Springfield. That whole Springfield area takes you right into Enfield, and then it drive up the road into Hartford. So they got a couple of big cities that are right near where we are. The question is will they be able to start sports? And I'll tell you right now, if we don't keep those numbers down, those numbers got to stay down for COVID-19, or I'm going to tell you right now, our governor might tell the MIAA that they're not going to be able to play sports in the fall. So this is a really sticky situation right here in the state. But I will say this, Franklin County, not bad. Just a little over 400 cases so far since we've had this, which, let's be honest, folks, compared to everywhere else, we are the lowest in the whole state. That's right, in the whole state, Franklin County, Massachusetts, has the lowest amount of COVID-19 cases. That's a really good sign for people here in Western Mass. Well, that was my little update for you of what's going on for fall sports. A couple more sports scores and some information before we wrap up our shortened setup here today on the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report. Bobby C. and Philippe Simone. I want to let you know that Greenfield Sandy Koufax team, I'm telling you, they are good. They ended up with a big win on Thursday night. How about 14-0 over Northampton? Braden Thayer, Jackson Campbell, they led the way. Thayer struck out 4 in a couple innings of work. Jackson Campbell came on, didn't allow a hit or a walk. He ended up having a solid day. They ended up picking up an easy 14-0 win. Hugh Syhowski, Jackson Petrin, solid days. How about 3 for 3 for Syhowski? He ended up with 3 RBIs, 2 runs scored. Petrin, he had 3 hits, also had an RBI. Jake Brook, Nick Fasulo, Thayer, Campbell, Ethan Quinn, Jake Burnett, Jake Petrin, all those guys, they were contributors in that 14-0 win, undefeated on the season. Well, the Frontier Mickey Mantle team, they ended up having a solid day as the Frontier Albert Hearing Services team ended up with 18 hits as they picked up a 16-6 win, and that was a big win for them over that team from the West County, the Hilltown Hardwood Flooring West County team. Final score again was 16-6. Ben Martino led the way, 9-2 for them. They're in first place on the year. He had 4 hits. How about 2 doubles and 3 RBIs? Also, Tynan Craig ended up with 3 hits and 2 RBIs. Max Edwards drove in 4 runs and a pair of singles. Really, other guys who contributed in this one include Dylan Martin, Ethan Russell, Tyler Baranowski, Craig Brinda. They all contributed, including Kyle Barnes, in that victory. Baranowski was your winning pitcher as well. West County, they were led by Liam O'Donnell. He ended up having a solid day. Also, Cullen Brown, also Tyler Dubriel, Sean Davenport, Jaden Moore, also Brody Baird contributed in the loss. Well, that Greenfield Sandy Koufax team had another game this past week, and boy, after being a close one for a little bit, where they were leading just 3-1, they exploded in the 6th inning and picked up an 11-1 victory over Frontier. That's right. Jake Petrin picked up the win for Greenfield. That's a nice outing for him as he struck out 4 over 4 innings. Also, Braden Tupanik, he ended up doing really well in this one too. Nick Fasulo ended up having a couple of hits. Michael Pierce. Really, these guys all came through big in that 6th inning to be able to seal that win, as well as Cam Barnett, as well as Jacob Brook, Tyler Yetter, Jackson Campbell, all came through as they picked up an 11-1 victory. As we wind things down for this week, I want to let you know that Valley Storm team is getting ready for their tryouts for the 2021 season, and it's happening in the month of August. And I want to let you know that if you have some talented players that would like to have the opportunity to try out for these teams, you can do that. Here's the deal. 12 and under for the Storm. Their tryouts are going to be August 11th, the 13th, the 18th, and the 20th. 4 tryouts, 6 to 8 p.m. down at Murphy Park in Greenfield. The 14U team, their tryouts, same dates, same exact time. August 11th, 13th, 18th, and 20th, 6 to 8 p.m. The 16U tryouts, they will be held on August 5th. Now, as we record this, this will be done on August 5th. Today is August the 3rd, so it'll be on Wednesday of this week, and it will be 6 to 8 p.m. Now, the 18U team, well, they're going to have their tryouts on the 6th, so that means that you can enjoy the tryout for this team on Thursday. And once again, that'll be 5:30 to 7 at Murphy Park. They're also looking for a manager for next year's 12U team, as Joe Gamache, his daughter Kylie, will be moving up to the 14 under. All right, there you have it. That is our update of the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report. I'm Bobby C. For Philippe Simone, all of us at GCTV, want to let you know that we're going to get this out to our other stations as well. We'll get it down to Chris Collins down at the FCAT over there in Turner's Falls at Montague Community Television. And we'll get it up there to good old Berniston Northfield as well, their community access television station too. For Bobby C., Philippe Simone, and all of us crazy people in downtown Greenfield driving by, thank you for tuning in to the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report. And once again, Albert Hearing Services, 4 Leaf Clover Restaurant, and Denny's Pantry, thank you for supporting these kids. Have a great week, everyone, and enjoy your sports teams. They are still playing.
Thanks for watching the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report on GCTV. Catch a game and be sure to join us next time for more sports and fun.